gaining muscle or reducing fat. Usually, if you're not a newbie, it's advised to choose one or the other. But is it possible to carry out both tasks simultaneously? Most fitness and bodybuilding communities revolve around two types of workouts. Both cutting and bulking include eating more calories than you need in order to put on muscle and increase lean body mass. To profit from them, you typically have to cycle back and forth between one or the other for months. Nonetheless, some experts have extolled and promoted the prospect of obtaining both advantages together. Now that their bodies are in a situation where there's a lot of room for progress on both ends of the spectrum, beginners can very easily accomplish both at the same time. Even if they consume less calories than they burn, overweight starters in particular are ready for growing muscle since they had little to begin with, and for burning fat because they had so much fat stored. But this is considerably more difficult to accomplish for people who aren't beginners. Recompositioning, or culking, a play on the words bulking and cutting, as fitness coach Alan Aragon prefers to call it, may be your only option. And such a regimen can take many different forms. Some recomp programs advise a minor amount of bulking for a few weeks, followed by a significant amount of cutting for 1 week. Some programs advise alternating between the two every day. Some people attempt to change the P consequences ratios, which have to do with how your body stores or breaks down fat in relation to muscle mass. Some advocate for weekly cheat days or refeeding phases. Some people advise consuming only the calories needed for maintenance while continuing your resistance workout. Others advise eating more when you lift weights and less when you do cardio or when you aren't working out. For all, the idea is essentially the same. No lengthy cutting or bulking periods. Year-round maintenance of a certain ideal weight range while gaining muscle and burning fat. The majority of science agrees with this hypothesis. In actuality, the physiological changes brought on by a recomp routine are not all that dissimilar from those brought on by bulking and cutting. Your body becomes extremely adept at developing as a result of the hormones and body chemicals that start to shift towards anabolism during bulking. The main issue is that this entails gaining weight in addition to muscle. Also, the closer you get to your hereditary myostatin limit, the protein that inhibits muscle growth, the slower muscle building becomes. As a result, the fitter you are, the more fat you end up accumulating. In contrast, this is not true when cutting. The body's hormones switch to catabolism, which involves using bodily stores as fuel by breaking them down. At first, the majority of this energy comes from fat. Nevertheless, once you reach a certain degree of leanness, your hormones start telling your body to conserve as much fat as possible for survival while switching to protein and lean mass for energy, which results in muscle loss. Your body does switch between anabolism and catabolism when doing both at once. The main issue here is that because of the frequent moving, your body doesn't have much time to adjust to the hormonal shifts. In the end, you'll experience both the positive and negative effects of anabolism and catabolism, but not at their peak levels. You can reduce fat, but it'll take more time than someone cutting. And you can gain muscle, but it'll take longer than someone bulking. And the more muscular and lean you grow, the harder it becomes. So it would be false to argue that it cannot be done. But nonetheless, doing so requires that you understand that getting it to work will require careful planning and be a slower process. Post your fitness-related queries in the comments. Oh, by the way, supporting this channel will also enable it to continue addressing all of your excellent questions. Thank you for watching.